You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show.
Dr. J, how's it going?
Evan, it's doing great, man. How you doing?
Pretty well. I'm glad we got this internet thing straightened out. Let's hit this estrogen dominance topic. People have been asking via email, social media. Clients of ours have been asking about hormones and trying to understand them. There's so many things in the environment that impact them. Your lifestyle, your diet can impact those. And so you and I wanted to outline all this together and talk about what's affecting your hormones. Why is it so complicated in the modern world? What are the new variables that didn't exist? And then what do we do to fix it? So do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so hormones are interesting, right? Hormones are these messengers, right? They help with inflammation, they help with growth mediation, i.e. healing and recovering, putting on muscle. They help with reproduction, not only reproduction like in reproducing ourselves so we heal, but also having children. And healthy hormone balance is essential to us feeling good, to us having energy, to us being resilient and vital as we age and deal with stressful situations. So hormone balance is really, really important. Now, as women have two different kinds of hormones that are constantly in fluctuation, generally speaking, right? Men are kind of this foghorn of hormones throughout the month. Again, there's some fluctuations on a daily basis with cortisol, as are women, but on a monthly basis, men kind of have this flat rhythm regarding testosterone. Women have this kind of symphony of hormonal fluctuations regarding estrogen and progesterone. And I tell my patients, estrogen is the hormone that makes you grow. Progesterone is the hormone that makes you grow up, meaning estrogen just causes cells to just grow bigger, while progesterone helps cells to differentiate and mature. Okay? This is important. So throughout your cycle, kind of breaking down a woman's monthly cycle, I think is really important for the first place of connecting the dots of where abnormalities happen. So first off, women's cycle begins with bleeding, with menstruation. Typically about 3 to 4 days, maybe 5 days long in some extenuating circumstances. That happens because of a drop in progesterone and estrogen. So progesterone and estrogen drop, that signals bleeding. So the uterine lining is now shed over that 3 to 5 day period. The next thing is the follicle starts to grow. And that follicle, FSH from the brain, is starting to be produced, and that causes the follicle to grow. So FSH talks to the follicle starts to grow. As the follicle grows, estrogen is produced by the follicle, that's step 3. As estrogen is being produced, it eventually hits a toppling, where it hits its highest level around day 6 to 9 or 6 to 10. Then progesterone starts to increase as estrogen tops out, right? Progesterone's increasing due to LH. LH is luteinizing hormone. That's a brain hormone. The two brain hormones are FSH and LH. As progesterone topples out around day 20 to 23 or so, that's where hormones are at its highest regarding progesterone. And then day 27, 28, progesterone and estrogen fall. So if we kind of recap it real quick, briefly, what's happening is we have brain hormones causing the follicle to grow, the follicle stimulating estrogen, estrogen stimulating LH, LH stimulating progesterone, progesterone and estrogen dropping. And that's kind of the general gist of the average female cycle, right around 28 days or so. And about a day 13 to 15 is where ovulation happens. That's right where estrogen tops out and progesterone starts to rise. That's where that 2 to 3 day window of pregnancy happens. And I'll just take a breath and give you a chance to break it down, Evan.
Sure. Makes perfect sense. And a lot of the women that you and I are working with may be perimenopause or menopausal, so we can talk about the ebb and flow and things that change there. So basically, as you've kind of alluded, throughout most of the reproductive years, the estrogen and progesterone are in a pretty good balance. But then if you look at all the information with progesterone and estrogen levels changing, then it looks like the gap becomes bigger, where there's a relatively high estrogen compared to progesterone, and that's what we would call menopause. And then that's when these symptoms can start to occur. So I guess what I should do now is just go through some of these, what we consider estrogen dominant symptoms. So this could be allergies. This could be breast tenderness. You have copper excess, which I did a video on copper toxicity, and everybody's like blown away by the idea of too much copper. How about cold hands and cold feet? Decreased sex drive, depression with possibly some anxiety or agitation added to it. Could be dry eyes, fat gain, especially around the abdomen, the hips, the thighs, fatigue. Could be brain fog, which sometimes that could be yeast related as well. Hair loss, headaches, blood sugar issues, infertility, irregular periods. You and I've talked about amenorrhea, just missing your period completely before. Irritability, insomnia, mood swings. I could go on and on. I think that's a pretty good handful of symptoms, though.
Yeah, absolutely. So when estrogen's out of whack, a whole bunch of symptoms happen. The real common ones, like you mentioned, most female, these are the ones that I deal with on a daily basis with all my female patients, that, the big complaints. It's going to be moodiness. It's going to be breast tenderness. It's going to be cramping. It's going to be back pain. It's going to be migraines, moody, sweet cravings or sugar cravings. And I would say like water retention and even weight gain.
Yeah, I would say the sex drive one's been something big. I asked that question on my intake form, do you think your libido is adequate? And it's very, very rare to find a woman over age 40 who says that her libido is adequate. Some women said they haven't had a libido in 20 years. So, these things can change with hormones, and they're not just going to magically fall into place by diet and exercise. So eventually you and I are going to outline what exactly is going on in the external environment that is throwing off this whole hormonal cascade here.
Exactly. And typically as a woman ages, menopause is nothing more than the ovaries not functioning like they were when you were cycling, and you have a drop in hormones from that. Typically over time, one of the big things we see with hormonal fluctuations over time is that estrogen drops at about 35% the rate from age 35 to 50, while progesterone can drop at 75% the rate. So this whole podcast is really surrounding the topic of estrogen dominance. And part of estrogen dominance is just being exposed to a high amount of estrogens in the environment that we'll go into in a second. The other half is progesterone being essentially dropping so fast that estrogen, the ratio of estrogen goes above and beyond what would be normal, essentially. So
Right.
if progesterone starts to drop faster than estrogen, even though you may have more progesterone as a basic flatline number, that's still going to be estrogen dominance. Some people say over the course of a whole cycle, you'll have 300 times more progesterone than estrogen. At certain times of the cycle, like depending on where you're at, like let's say in the follicular phase, you may have as much as 25 times more progesterone to estrogen. So it's different from the perspective of where you are in your cycle. But in general, estrogen and progesterone will be about 25 to 300 times more in relationship to estrogen. All right. So if that skew starts to get disrupted and we start to have less progesterone, let's say below 20, below 15 on average, that may be a big driving factor of estrogen dominance and a lot of the whole PMS symptoms and all the symptoms that you just mentioned as well. The brain fog, the libido, dry hair, dry skin, dry nails, cold hand, cold feet, cramping, breast tenderness, all the things we already mentioned.
Let's talk about some of the causes here. Birth control being a big one that can contribute, because with birth control, you're basically just keeping your estrogen levels sky high. And so this is just a common prescription for many teenage girls. I've heard of even girls as young as 12 years old now getting put on birth control pills for their periods, if they're having really bad periods. So talk us through that. What's going on with birth control pills? Why are these such an issue?
Well, birth control pills are nothing more than like synthetic estrogens. You have like Gasmin and all these synthetic estradiol compounds, and they basically jack up your estrogen level as a female about 400% to 500%, 4 to 5 times. And that's a problem because hormones, right? If you go to any opera or any symphony, there is a specific timing and a volume in which everything needs to operate in. If something goes too loud or too quiet or something, the timing's off, you can easily have a beautiful symphony turn into noise pretty darn fast. Now, taking that analogy to a hormone cycle, if those things start to go too high because of synthetic hormone overload or too low because of hormone stress driven by inflammation, that can start to create hormonal symptoms. So that's the big thing right there off the bat. So estrogens are going to be jacked up way high. Sometimes with the Mirena IUD, it's an interuterine compound that's put up there to prevent the egg from implanting in the uterus lining. That is actually using synthetic progesterone. So that's a little bit different. But most of the birth control pills are going to be synthetic estrogen based. And basically what it's doing, it's keeping the estrogen so high all the time. So you don't have that rise in progesterone happening. You don't have that cycling of hormones. So basically it shuts down the HPA axis. And because your hormones are so high, the LH and the FSH kind of go to sleep.
So the body thinks it's pregnant.
Well, not necessarily. The body, well, I guess you could say at a certain level, typically progesterone is going to be really high with pregnancy and you're going to have HCG off the chart. So you're not going to see that because if you ran a pregnancy test while you were on a birth control pill, you wouldn't come back with a pregnancy test being positive because you're not making the beta HCG. But what it's doing, it's shutting down the brain because the brain has this domino rally of FSH raising and then LH raising. So it kind of shuts that down because when the hormones are really high, FSH and LH don't really have to work as much because the high amount of hormones is just shutting down the whole entire symphony. It's like going into a symphony and with a foghorn. You just overpower all the instruments. You just can't hear anything.
Makes perfect sense. Let's talk about the metabolism of these two. That's something that people do not talk about. There are side effects that we could go into. We won't bore you with those today, but there are nutrients, your vitamin C's, your magnesium, zincs, and other minerals that are required for metabolizing these pills through your liver. So if you look at someone who has been on birth control for many, many years, more than likely you and I are going to look at their adrenals. We'll probably see low function. And if we look at like an organic acids test and we're looking for vitamin C or other nutritional markers, they're probably going to be deficient. Maybe not the only cause would be birth control, but it's definitely a factor. And then now I know we have to mention the environmental part of estrogens too. We've talked about adding excess estrogen in via birth control, but we have all these xenoestrogens in the environment, and now we're seeing teenage boys with man boobs, and this is not good. This is not something that would have happened, let's say, even 100, maybe 150 years ago with this breast enlargement. Can we go through some of those, like the meats, the plastics, the canned goods, all of that stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So again, we already kind of mentioned some of the mild to moderate symptoms regarding estrogen dominance. And again, people that are listening that are familiar with some of the pathological situations like uterine fibroids, endometriosis, fibrocystic breast, polycystic ovarian syndrome, even breast tumors, those are ultimate, severe, more pathological forms of estrogen dominance in action.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah, and regarding some of the underlying environmental causes, too much sugar is going to drive a lot of this because too much sugar is going to increase insulin. Insulin resistance drives more fat growth because if our cells are saturated and we can't burn sugar in our muscles, well, guess what happens to that sugar? Goes right into fat, and fat actually is its own exocrine gland. It produces a hormone that's going to cause fat. It's going to basically produce leptin, which is another hormone that's going to decrease our body's ability to signal satiation and signal that we're full, which is another thing. And it's also going to produce more sex hormones like estrogen. So if we have more fat cells will actually produce more hormones and throw us off even more. So driving insulin resistance, driving fat will then drive more estrogen, and then also it's going to screw up the whole combination here with leptin, which is going to make us feel hungrier and eat more of that same junk that got us there in the begin with. So a lot of these mechanisms that we overlay, you can see there's almost like this vicious cycle to them where they kind of repeat itself on a loop over and over and over again.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, it could all start with diet or sugar. So I mean, that's a huge one. It's not something that we want to skip over, but you and I, we hit the diet piece so much that we're assuming if you're listening to this show, then you're generally closer to like an AIP style diet where you're not eating gluten. Maybe you're doing a little bit of dairy in the form of like some ghee or some grass-fed butter, but
Right.
beyond that, you got to have that foundation in place. And then we could go on with the personal care products. You got your pesticides and herbicides. So if you're
Yes.
eating organic, you're avoiding that. You got your makeup for women. So that is in the personal care
Huge.
category. But think about women that are lathering themselves a lot of times with heavy metals and phthalates and all that too in their makeups.
You also have your pesticides too. I mean, a lot of those are estrogenic in origin. Pesticides, fungicides, herbicides. You have a lot of chemicals in the water as well. Remember, when you get your water filtered back, the conventional water filtration in your community won't filter out a lot of the hormones in the water. So you're
Yeah,
getting,
well, oh
yeah,
yeah, the trace amounts of pharmaceuticals you're talking
yeah,
about that people flush down the toilet.
absolutely.
Fluoride would be another one that we could talk about.
Yeah,
That's another endocrine disruptor there.
yeah, fluoride. Also, a lot of these polybrominated diphenyl ethers that are in flame retardant products and various solvents. Definitely not good. Milk, if we're drinking or consuming conventional dairy, a lot of the milks are treated with Apostolac, which is or Similac. Similac's the formula. Yeah, it's
Right.
Posolac. Posolac is the growth hormone given to cows to produce more milk, essentially. And then we have conventional dairy or conventional meat. Which could come from cows because cows are going to be given hormones as well on the meat side, right? You have your Jersey cows, which produce the milk. They're given the Posolac to make more breast milk or make more, cow milk. And then we have the cows that are eaten for steaks and meat, and those cows are going to be given more growth hormone and estrogens to make more meat as well. They're also given mycotoxins too to produce more fat to make their meat more marbled, and they're given a lot of grains which are loaded with mycotoxins as well to make the meat more marbled. So a lot of different chemical toxins that are coming in on both sides of the fence.
Yeah, not even to mention the grain they're getting fed is likely sprayed with glyphosate or it's genetically modified grain that these conventional meat products have consumed.
Bingo. Exactly.
Yeah. Last thing on the, I guess on the xenoestrogen route or would be the fragrances. So any woman or man wearing, perfumes, colognes, air fresheners, using those little trees that people put on their rearview mirror. It's the worst smell in the world. Don't use those.
Absolute toxins. I remember in high school, I used to love having those in my car. I like the vanilla scent one. I thought it was so cool. But then the more I studied it, it was just absolute toxins.
So were you the guy who, when one of the trees ran out of scent, did you go to the car wash and buy another tree and stack it on, or did you remove the first one?
Well, I would remove the first one, but I'd always keep a tree in there to keep it going.
Oh,
But
I've seen people who have 20 trees stacked on one another on the rearview mirror. They can't even see out the windshield.
Isn't that nasty?
It's horrible. Well, actually, Luke, who you and I were talking about before the show, Luke, he posted something online about he got in an Uber and he posted a picture of a guy who had like 20 of the black trees on his and so he had like a little portable ozone generator that he was breathing in the back seat of the car.
Oh my God.
Poor
Unreal.
Luke.
I know. What you gonna do?
Yeah. Let's talk about phytoestrogens too in the food. I guess we'll hit the diet piece again. So these are your sources of soy. So mainly we're talking about soybean, your tofu, all of that. Something that's frustrating for me is when you're looking for a good protein bar, you might find an organic protein bar at your health food store, but typically one of the first ingredients is going to be soy protein crisp. It's like, come on, that's not good.
I know. Whatchamacallit, Cliff Bars has got them. Even I think
Yep.
a lot of the Zone bars too. There's only a few bars that actually have decent, clean protein in their bars, but that's a big one. Soy is a big phytoestrogen. Outside of miso, natto, or tempeh, soy is, for the most part, is not going to be good. Some menopausal females can get away with a small amount of it, fermented-wise, because it can help modulate the hormones when they're lower in estrogens, right, menopausal. But for the most part, people should not be doing soy. It's not a good thing. And outside of that, too, we talked about the chemicals. We talked about the industrial solvents, the hygiene products. You can always go to the website skindeep.com or .org to look up your
products that you use on your face, on your hair, on your skin, your makeup, and see how much chemicals or toxins are in them. Oh, stress. Stress is huge because stress will cause your progesterone, which is a major building block of your hormones, to go downstream, meaning it will take progesterone and shunt it into cortisol or stress hormones so you can deal with whatever that stressor is, because your body is hardwired to prioritize stress and inflammation first over recovery and healing and fertility second. And it kind of makes sense because if you're stressed now, the body wants to deal with that stress, get over it, and then be able to repair later, because if it doesn't deal with the stressor, it may not get to that next point of being able to heal and recover. So it's just allocation.
Yeah, maybe you're dead, and because you got eaten by the bear because your body was trying to repair and run at the same time. It can't do both. So if people are listening, always have the ancestral lens added as a filter onto our conversations, because this is very new. All the stuff that we're dealing with, the environment is so new, and we still have this ancient wiring system that is thinking, okay, there's a bear coming down my driveway right now. I need to be in fight or flight. So recovery is not prioritized. And people listening, even just you having a notification sound, Justin and I have talked about this before, but even just having notifications on your smartphone or your computer, ding, every time you get an email, that's triggering a biological response in the brain. That's a hormonal response. Your body's thinking, oh, what in the hell's in that email? Is that a bill? Is that a letter from somebody I don't want to hear from? What's in that inbox? That could be a huge source of stress. So you really need to, you could either track your heart rate variability or just track how you feel. If you feel your heart racing or your gut hurting after you're exposed to social media, something like that. These are the invisible stressors that can really trigger stuff for people. And if people are like, well, what does that actually do? You're just saying this, but what does it do? Well, it inhibits the conversion of hormone, your T4 to your active T3. And so then you're going to have those hypothyroid symptoms, and it could all be due to this stress.
Yeah, and just think about it like this, right? If you're barely making enough ends to meet, you're barely getting enough money to make ends meet, so to speak, right? Do you have enough money to go and start investing in things in the stock market or real estate? Probably not, because you're just so focused on getting the bills paid. That's all you can focus on. Once the bills are paid, i.e., once you're able to manage stress and inflammation in your life, then you can think about investments after that, right? Same thing hormonally with how your body is prioritized to allocate bandwidth to, essentially.
Right. That's well said. Do you want to talk about solutions for this? I think avoidance is kind of the big one that we could say in one sentence and be done with it. Getting these things out of your life, making sure that you are eating organic, making sure that you are staying away from the chemicals as much as possible. You're looking at your skincare products. You're looking at the makeup, the mascaras, the foundations, all of that crazy stuff that women put on to, they feel like they have to put that on to be beautiful. I promise most women I see, they're more beautiful without makeup. You look so much better. I tell my wife, you don't need it. Country singers, they sing that in their songs, like, oh, don't put on makeup. But it's a real thing, especially if you have, freckles and whatever natural skin pigmentation. That's pretty. You don't have to cover it up. So maybe turning off the TV is the first step to get through that process, because women are brainwashed into thinking they have to have caked on xenoestrogens to look pretty, and they don't.
Exactly, and that's part of the whole, brainwashing that Hollywood does. Is they try to make most people feel incredibly inadequate about themselves so they can go buy some product. And, frankly, it works. As much as a lot of women don't like it and they complain about it, but it works, and that's why they do it.
Yeah, you're saying because if one lady's going to wear makeup, then you don't want to be the only one without it?
Right. I mean, my wife asked me, should I wear makeup tonight? She's asking me this. I'm like, no, you shouldn't. I'd like you better without makeup. It's better. It's healthier.
It really is.
But there are some natural things out there. I know there's there's some mineral based makeups that you can just kind of touch things up, and it's more mineral and more natural based, and it's easy, and you're not adding a big toxic load. Those would be if you're going to use makeup, because some people may not be ready to make that switch. That's the better next step to look at.
I've seen a couple organic mascaras. I don't know how it could be organic, but Hannah's purchased a few organic mascaras, and then also a few foundations. I don't know if they were considered organic or they were labeled without phthalates. I can't think of the brand right now. I want to say it had the name Doctor in it. Doctor's Best or something, and it was a brand of makeup. If you look on Amazon, I know there's a bunch of different companies out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So diving in here, we talked about the stress allocation and how your bodies and your adrenals can be affected by this whole thing, right? Because of the prioritization of progesterone to cortisol. You also touched in on how that cortisol can affect your thyroid, because if your hormones start going off, if progesterone starts going off, that can affect thyroid conversion, because if cortisol is out of balance, that can affect T4 to T3 conversion, which is your inactive thyroid hormone to your active thyroid hormone. And also, progesterone is a powerful stimulator of TPO, which is the enzyme that helps bind tyrosine and um, iodine together to make thyroid hormone. So progesterone is really important to building thyroid hormone. So you can see this is why you don't just get one symptom when hormones go out of balance, because it just has this constellation ripple that can happen, and many symptoms can occur because of it.
Yep, well said. So avoidance, we talked about lifestyle changes, doing what you can, whether it's a flotation tank, whether it's yoga, tai chi, qigong, there's meditation, there's gratitude exercises, journaling. You and I have done entire podcasts dedicated to that. I don't want to skim over it, but I think there's so much that's said about stress that you just have to do it. And if you say that you don't have 5 minutes to meditate, well, you probably need quadruple that amount of time.
Exactly. Yep, setting a timer like that can be really helpful. Even just sitting and just breathing, just staring literally out your window, just staring and just thinking about the sky or whatever, just clouding your head of just whatever is going on, and just think about whatever you're looking at. That's why if you talk about forest bathing or walking in nature and just being 100% present where you're at. Oh, look, a tree. Oh, look, a rock. And all you're focused on is what your eyes are gazing at.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking outside right now. It's a beautiful day here. It's in the mid 60s, so it's getting chilly, but the sky is so blue. I mean, I'm so grateful for that, to not have a cloudy day.
That's awesome.
Should we talk about nutrients? You want to go there in terms of like estrogen metabolism support, stuff like that?
Yeah, so let's just kind of dive into gut, because the gut's really important to the nutrients getting to where they have to go. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
So we've kind of talked about this when we did our dry run round 1 on this podcast on Friday. That gut didn't quite go through on our side, so we're even more polished for this podcast round 2. We talked about estrogen hormone conjugation, and conjugation is nothing more than putting a straitjacket on the hormone. Okay, so because we're talking about estrogen here, estrogen begins with an E, so we'll use Evan as our form of estrogen in this.
Here we go.
All right, so E for Evan, E for estrogen. I'm putting a straitjacket on Evan, so I can escort him out of, let's say, the rowdy club, right? He's going crazy. He's fist pumping. We're going to put a straitjacket on him, escort him out of the club. That's kind of like what our body does to estrogen. It's done its thing. It's going. It's getting shot back out the gallbladder into the gut to get metabolized. We bind these proteins to it. These called conjugation, or in this analogy, straitjackets on Evan, so we can escort it out. The problem is bad gut bacteria imbalances, meaning more bad bacteria in relationship to good bacteria in your gut. This is called dysbiosis. This upregulates specific enzymes known as beta-glucuronidase. It's an enzyme because it ends in the word ACE, A-S-E. This enzyme basically comes over and takes the straitjacket off. So imagine Evan being escorted out of the bar, right? The club, he's being rowdy. Someone clips open the straitjacket, and now he's loose, and he's running away from the bouncer or the police, right? That's what happens. Estrogen gets unconjugated or deconjugated. Boom, it can go right back into circulation and cause tissue to grow, whether it's endometriosis or cause fibroids to occur, or create hormonal imbalances and symptoms and mood swings and affect your mood and cause you to gain weight. All these different things can happen when we have gut bacteria imbalances. So that's kind of the estrogen gut detox mechanism. And then we also have the fact that if we have malabsorption, because we have too much gut bacteria imbalance, more bad than good, we have low stomach acid and low enzyme levels, well, we're not going to be able to break down a lot of the nutrients we need to be able to metabolize hormones, whether it's B6 or zinc and magnesium or various B vitamins that help with phase 1 and phase 2 detoxification, sulfur-based amino acids. All these things have to be broken down into their constituents so they can be absorbed and get into circulation. And also we need to ionize various minerals like magnesium and zinc. These are really important minerals. We have to ionize them. That basically allows these minerals to get solubilized into the bloodstream so it can do its thing and be utilized.
Yeah, so we could add another layer on top of that, parasites, yeast. We know with Dr. Dr. Jonathan Wright's book, Why Stomach Acid is Good for You, we know that any woman listening over age 30, you have lower levels of hydrochloric acid and enzymes than you did when you were 20. So it's not to, you don't have to guess and check and think, oh, do I have low enzymes? I guarantee it. I would suggest, and you tell me if you suggest different, but I generally suggest anyone over age 30, especially people that are busy or eating in a rush or
Big time.
scrolling on their phone while they're eating, which is a big no-no. You got to have enzymes.
100%.
Supplemental enzymes, that is.
Yeah, I mean enzymes and or hydrochloric acid, because hydrochloric acid actually activates enzymes.
Yeah.
Hydrochloric acid activates pepsinogen, the pepsin in the stomach. It also provides the pH stimulation for the pancreas to produce trypsin, chymotrypsin, lipase, a whole bunch of other proteolytic enzymes that are really important. So without HCl and or enzymes, you're going to be in a world of hurt when it comes to digestion. And most women don't get this, men as well, but they don't understand the fact that you can have digestive problems and may not actually have digestive symptoms. People think, well, hey, I don't have diarrhea or constipation or bloating. I'm not too gassy. I don't burp too much. I don't have any acid reflux. And I go to the bathroom every day. Hey, I don't have a problem, right? But a lot of times their moodiness, their PMS, their migraines, their other issues in their body can be driven by the inflammation going in their gut, because they're not expressing with they're not expressing with typical gut symptoms, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. They're expressing with atypical, outside of the norm symptoms that just are really hard to be connected, and their medical doctor they go to won't ever recognize it, because they're great, they're depressed, could be a hormonal issue, could be a gut issue, but guess what? They're going to get put on
Lexapro.
Lexapro, Paxil. Hey, they're feeling, a little bit anxious. Great. They're going to get thrown on Xanax.
Ugh,
Hey, they're feeling like their cycle's a little unstable. They're getting thrown on a birth control pill. Could
it's
totally be
horrible.
from all the other dysbiosis and the poor detox happening in their gut.
It's horrible, man. It's horrible. I had a female last week. She asked me, we found Giardia and Blasto, the double trouble there.
Double trouble.
And she said, well, I don't have any gut symptoms. Do we still have to treat it? I said 100%. You can, just because you're, not running to the bathroom with diarrhea, the typical manifestation of Giardia, doesn't mean we can just let it stay there. Maybe you would have a better answer than me. I just said absolutely, but I know there could be more to that. You could be as long-winded as possible with this.
Well, I tell people that everyone has the right to be infection-free, right? That's my goal, to make sure everyone's infection-free. Now, the problem is everyone also has the right to have more than one issue going on at once. So a lot of patients, they have hormonal imbalances, but they also have other issues that are driving the hormonal imbalances that don't necessarily, from bird's eye view, connect, i.e. the blasto and giardia and this girl's female hormone or mood symptoms. So,
Yep.
so anytime there's a stressor, that's an issue. It's like you walk into your house, okay? Let's say you have a couple of guest bedrooms. Let's say you don't go in those guest bedrooms for a while. The guest that was in there last left the water running just a bit. You don't know it, you don't hear it, but you get this water bill every month and it's just a little bit higher than you're used to. You're like, why the heck is my water bill 30% higher? I'm barely even using it. I'm gone half the month. What's going on? And then you look over and you're like, oh, the water in my guest bedroom's on. That's what it is. I'm going to turn it off. Now, what's this equal? Having water in your guest bedroom on is like having a parasite or a bug stealing your nutrition, pooping inside of you, i.e. creating biotoxins, creating inflammation, and maybe even creating leaky gut, which is stressing out your immune system, which takes up energy. All of those stressors that parasite or infection's involved in, toxins, malabsorption, leaky gut, immune activation, that's nothing more than draining your energy. So instead of your energy being allocated to performance and recovery and healing, right, it's going towards something else. Just like your water bill is being sucked towards these guest bedrooms that you're not even aware of them because you're not there on a day-to-day basis.
Now, so from the nervous system perspective, couldn't we say that you're going to be more sympathetic dominant, more fight or flight?
100%.
Because you're fighting an internal battle.
Bingo. And the problem, the sympathetic nervous system, the allocation, because we're hardwired this way, and it totally makes sense, is when the fight or flight, the sympathetic, that's like the gas, go, 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 go. That's the gas. The sympathetic fight or flight nervous system shunts blood flow towards the muscles, towards the outer extremities, because we have to fight and flee. And we need oxygen and nutrition and glucose to get to those outer extremity so we can perform. If the blood glucose is inside the intestines and inside all the organs where they should be and they're digesting, you will not be able to run as fast. That's the main reason why activity after your meal is destructive for your digestion. You get an upset stomach. Remember the old analogy of like, hey, you shouldn't go swim. You should wait, 2 hours or an hour after you eat to go swimming? Why is that? It's because at some point someone did that and they got a cramp because there wasn't enough blood flow, or they got an upset stomach and got sick.
Yeah, because you're
So,
trying to rest and digest and be active at the same time. You can't do it.
yeah, the analogy is this, right? If the sympathetic fight or flight nervous system is your foot on the gas, and if the digestive system and relaxation and repair is the brake pedal, what happens when you hit the gas pedal and the brake pedal at the same time?
Yeah, it's not a good
No,
picture.
no, exactly.
Yep.
You're spending a lot of time going nowhere fast, right?
Yep. So to wrap this whole segment up of this part of the conversation, if you're someone listening, especially female, or you and I are working together, you're working with Justin already, and you tell us, yeah, but my life's not that stressful. I'm not that stressed. It doesn't matter, because all of this hormonal imbalance and these symptoms that you have could all be going on due to something in your gut. And Justin, you and I both are we've seen false negatives on stool test results. So sometimes it may take 1 or 2 or 3 times to really find what's going on. So if you've gone to your conventional doctor or even the gastroenterologist, the specialist you're going to get referred to that's going to throw you on prescription acid blockers, if they run tests on you and show up negative, don't necessarily take their word for it. I hate to say this, that these prestigious hospitals and et cetera are missing infections, but you and I see it every single day in the clinic, and we're finding these infections. So if you actually get something on a piece of paper, you're going to have a lot more room to work with. So don't just go buy hormone balancing or hormone this, hormone that supplement. You really need to get to the root of the root, which in some cases could be the infection route.
Oh, 100%. And again, really looking at everything holistically is really exactly how you have to do it, because of the interplay with body systems that may not typically connect to the average person, because they're not a trained functional medicine clinician, and definitely will not connect with the average conventional medical doctor, because their training is drug symptom, drug symptom, drug symptom, and they don't look at upstream stressors in body systems that may be out of balance.
Sure. So I'll put it even more direct. If you're going to your OBGYN or your endocrinologist, they're not going to have a clue about you having a cryptosporidium infection in your gut and giving you an herbal protocol to remove that infection so that your hormones come back into balance.
100%.
It's never going to happen. I mean, I will bet, every silver bar that exists on the planet that's you're not going to get it. If you do, then that doctor, they've stepped up their game and they've done some functional, they've taken some functional courses.
And sometimes it's good, like get that workup done. Just go with the low hanging fruit. I find most of the time patients come to see me and that's already been done and it's
Yeah.
already been missed. But hey, always start with what's the easiest and what I consider to be the low hanging fruits. That way you've crossed your T's and dotted your I's, so to speak, and then you can go up the chain regarding the functional medicine ladder, so to speak.
Sure. And I guess we could briefly talk about, the financial aspect of it too. If someone does have health insurance or they're able to go see a doctor through their work and it's at no charge to them, then you might as well try to milk that for as much as you possibly can. But unfortunately, in most cases, the lab results that get sent over to you and I that we review, there's not much evidence there. We can't really work with that. We really have to do the more functional tests, which are an investment, but sometimes that's what it takes.
100%. So looking at this point here, if everyone listening or anyone listening is dealing with a hormonal imbalance, whether it's men with just having low libido and poor muscle tone, or women having PMS or menopausal symptoms, or everything in between that we already mentioned, the whole litany of different items there, the next step is going to be one, digging into the female hormones. Right? Testing hormones at the right time of your cycle. We test female hormones typically around day 20 or so if we're looking at progesterone and estrogen. Some we even run a month-long cycle to see how the hormones fluctuate every other day. And some will even dig deeper into looking at thyroid as well as a full gut panel. So depending on where you're at, if you're having issues and you've already kind of ruled out the things we've already talked about on the diet and lifestyle, the next step would be to step it up regarding the functional medicines options that are available in kind of our palette if you will. So
Yep.
next step would be to reach out to either myself, to Evan, Not Just Paleo, Dr. J, myself, justinhealth.com, or some other competent, trained functional medicine doctor or practitioner to get everything kind of lined up in order based on what we talked about in the podcast today.
You hit on the last word that I wanted to say is the order.
Yes.
Something that is very important for anything. If this is just adrenal problems or just hormone problems or just gut problems, whatever it is, it has to be done in the right order. Please, please, please don't add to your supplement graveyard because you read about some product on Amazon or you saw it at the health food store and it was in the hormone section. Save your money, because if you're doing things in the wrong order, you're really just wasting your money. Now, I'm not going to say that taking a zinc supplement is necessarily going to make you worse, because we know that 70% of women or more are not getting enough zinc. So yeah, it's not going to hurt you. It might help you, but why go and spend all this money if it's not done in the right order? Because you're going to save so much more money in the long run if you do things in the right order by working with a practitioner.
Well, it's like baking a cake, right? Let's just pretend it's a gluten-free, flourless cake for our healthy analogy, right? You have the eggs, you have the coconut flour, or you have maybe some stevia in there, whatever else, maybe some grass-fed butter or coconut oil. Well, how we mix things in baking a cake is really important to the outcome of the product, of the outcome of the cake. So let's say you do start doing a heavy metal cleanse first, gut killing second, you work on the diet 3 months into it, and you don't touch the hormones and the thyroid till month 4. Well, you did a lot of things that were supposed to be done, but they were just all done in the wrong order. Just like making a cake, you cook it before you mix the eggs, and then you add the stevia at the end or whatever. It doesn't come out to be a nice looking cake.
Yep. Well said.
Anything else you want to add, Evan?
I don't think so. I think this has been good coverage. Share this if you have somebody who's going through all this stuff. I mean, I could think of 20 people right off the top of my head who I know have problems with estrogen metabolism or estrogen dominance. So sharing is caring. This is the information that has to get out there. We're going to continue doing our work. We've got, between Justin and I both, we're likely over 6 million. I haven't counted. I know for sure 100% guaranteed over 5 million downloads of conversations that we're having, probably up to 6 million by the 4-year anniversary of my show, which is coming up really darn quick. I think it's November 11th of 2012.
Wow.
Will be the 4-year anniversary. So that's a lot of people, but that's still not enough. Look at the suffering out there. Look at the people that are going and they're spinning their wheels and they're buying these diet programs and they're buying these fitness books and they're not getting the answers and they're beating their head against the walls and they're buying, diet root beers. And look at Pepsi. I mean, they had to bring back their aspartame version of their Diet Pepsi because so many people complained about the taste, So don't prioritize the taste, prioritize the quality of your liquids, the quality of your nutrition. Prioritize that better over taste. And if you ask me, I think aspartame tastes horrible and it's a neurotoxin, not to mention. So always look at something through the lens of the quality, not necessarily the taste or the cost or all of that, because you're really going to save yourself a lot of trouble if you start turning around the boat now as opposed to waiting till when you hit rock bottom and then you're coming to Justin or myself and then you're saying, look, I've had this stuff going on for 20 years. Well, how long have you known something was wrong? Well, I knew I should have got help, back in 2003, but I didn't.
Right.
Don't be one of those people. Thousands of people have come through our clinics. It's your turn. If you're suffering, stop suffering. You don't need to.
Bingo. Love it, Evan. Well, feel free to reach out to Evan, notjustpaleo.com, Dr. J, myself, justinhealth.com, or beyondwellnessradio.com. Subscribe to the podcast and the YouTube channel, and we look forward to providing more information very soon.
Check out Justin's videos. He's over 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's going to be, I told him, he's going to be the king of functional medicine on YouTube.
Just able to help more people. I love it.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Have a good day, Evan.
Bye.
Bye.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to beyondwellnessradio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.